man cannot define anything as good because man's definition is unstable. It changes according. In fact, man can change according to his emotion. That's how fickle man is. That when man is angry, he can say anything to his wife. And after a while, he comes back crying, I didn't mean it. Just change his emotion, his definition of good will change. Let him be hungry, and what he calls good will change. And when he's satisfied, his definition of good will change again. What they call good can change on the account of their urge, the chemistry in their bodies. By just altering their hormonal stuff, their definition of good. So man is lost. Man cannot define good. Today is day 14 of 32 Days of Governance by Boqer School of Government. Today we are going to be slightly focusing on the abstract before we get back to the concrete. I think we are going to be mix-matching the boats. Remember that we said that the classes are divided into two. One, abstract conception of things, and then number two is at the concrete level of things. The concrete level of things are where we study specific individuals, specific events, specific historical figures, specific things with a view to drawing out lessons from them that we might apply to our contemporary issues. But we also did say that apart from studying these specifics, that there are things about abstract, studying concepts like good governance, like democracy, like liberalism, like conservatism, all of these isms where the core concept or the philosophical groundwork of a person is laid. So today we are coming back from the abstract, from the concrete, to study the abstract. We've been doing the concrete. I think we've done Abraham, we've done Isaac, we're supposed to do Jacob today, but we're flipping it a little bit to accommodate the abstract. So let's go straight to the scriptures. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 17. Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke the oppressor, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow. In fact, if you start from verse 16, it says, wash yourselves, make yourselves clean, put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes, cease to do evil. One of the damages that was done to man in his fall is that his fundamental nature eluded him. His fundamental nature eluded him. And man was created in the image and the likeness of God. And God is good, but man is not. Or the unhelped man is not. The man at his fallen stage is not. And when you see that man, that good no longer comes naturally to him. The Bible says that the heart of man is wicked. From when? The days of his youth. Even today we see it in children, that it appears that from childhood, you begin to see manifestations and you can't, in any good sense, call it good. Because good is one of the things that eluded man when he fell. His fundamental nature of God became corrupted. And because of that, he has to learn how to do good. It's like a man who is full grown, knows how to walk, knows how to talk. In fact, I was watching a documentary of a lady who, after she had an accident, says that she has to learn. She has to learn how to eat again by herself, how to feed herself, how to take food, scoop it out from the plate and put it into her. A full-grown adult, 24 years, a lady. But she has to learn it again. Because although she knew how to do this, Although she knew how to have her motor functions, how to put food in her mouth, but she's now had an experience that makes that which ordinarily comes naturally to her, for her to learn how. So this is the story of man, was created in his goodness, in God's image and his likeness. And then something happened along the way, and man became corrupted and a reduced version of himself. That today, the first instinct, the first thing that comes to man is no longer good. And that everyone who does good learns it. Although evil is also learned. But if you leave a man at his natural state, he is more than likely to tilt towards evil than tilt towards good. If you leave your farm unfarmed, if you leave your land, don't work on it. Don't make the ridges. The chances are that weeds will grow there. Maybe you'll find one or two crops, but the chances are even when the crops start growing, some will need some kind of care. If yam, for instance, decides to sprout out on its own, you have to guide it properly. But then if you leave this ground untouched, chances are higher that when you come out 4 years after, that you will not see a well-manicured garden, that you will see thistles, that you will see weeds. That if you leave your compound unkept, that if you travel, for instance, and left your house, the chances that you will come back and the house will be cleaner than when you left is very minimal. So that anytime you see a clean house, effort was applied. But you don't have to apply any effort to have it dirty. This is the story of man. But you see, this distortion in the nature of man happens in all realms, but we're discussing only one today. How does this affect him in the realm of governance? Now, this man is expected to be the governor and is expected to be good. If he's appointed a commissioner, he's expected to be good. If he's appointed a councillor, he's expected to be good. If he's giving a contract, he's expected to be good. If he's the chairperson of a local government, he's expected to be good. If he's the national chairman of a party, he's expected to be good. If he's a media practitioner, expected to be good. A public servant, expected. A civil servant, name it. A military man, a police officer, an immigration officer. But the man that you expect good governance from has not been taught good governance. Because in his fundamental nature, he is corrupt. In his fundamental nature, he will put himself ahead of others. In his fundamental nature, he would want to profit from the situation. In his fundamental nature, he will want to enrich himself. It's not only in governance that the corrupt nature of man manifests, but because this is Boqer School of Government, our emphasis is usually on governance. But what we say about governance, you can take it and apply it on many other areas of life. You will still see the same result because we are dealing with the issues at the fundamental level. An unhelped man is corrupt. A man that does not receive help is corrupt. Genesis chapter 8 verse 21. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. In one of the classes, we said that you have to pay attention to the manufacturer of every product because nobody knows the product more than its manufacturer. In Africa, we don't have the culture of reading owner's manual. But there are some times you have a gadget, you bought it quite at an expensive amount, but you may be limited in the functionality of the gadget because you don't know other things that the gadget can do. And that no matter how intelligent you are, you can't know Android more than the manufacturer. You can't just know Apple phone more than the people who manufactured it. I know you're a good driver, but you can't know about the car more than Honda, or more than Toyota, or more than any company that manufactured it. And we're saying that if you want to understand man, pay attention to what his creator says about it. This one is not a prophet talking. God is saying directly, I know this man. It was not who I created, but he had an accident. And because of this accident he had, his heart is evil from his youth. I know this governor you're about to elect. His heart is evil from his youth. I know this lawmaker you're about, he dresses nice, he wears a good perfume, but his heart is evil. The civil servant, his heart, the public, it is man. Once it is man, the heart is evil. And this is not a charlatan talking, this is the creator. This is the manufacturer of the product, telling you about the product. Now, from other things he said about this product, you will know that that was not his design. But it's just that virus entered along the way. But then the good thing is that he doesn't leave man in this stage, in this defective stage. Something else comes along the way. He says, learn to do good. So the question is, what is good? If we're saying good governance, what is good governance? Who says that a thing is good before it becomes good? Who is that absolute that can give us the definition and the parameters of good? When we're having discussions about good governance, who do we ask? Do we run to CNN to say, okay, this is good governance? Do we run to America to copy good? Is it in Britain that we can find good? Is it in China? Is it in Malaysia? Is it in the Middle East? Where can we find good? How do we know that this is good? Because the Bible says that there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, which means it seems good to him, but the end thereof is destruction. Because man is an unstable entity. Very unstable. Man's definition tends to change over time. There's something someone calls bad today, he can call it good tomorrow. You know, one of the things that lack does to you is that it paints a picture in your mind. And while growing up, I won't say that I grew up in lack, but we also didn't grow up in utter abundance. And so eventually when we hang around and people tell us, oh, I bought a footwear for XYZ amount, you say, God forbid, I can never try it. It can't be me. How can I buy footwear? How can I buy a wristwatch for that amount? Does it show the time the world will end? Give that person time. The only thing you need to alter is to alter his relationships and alter his income level. That thing that he called expensive becomes affordable. Just change his friends and change his income status. Don't bother changing the man. Don't preach to him. If he earns 100k a month and he's griping that he can never in his life buy a wristwatch this amount, leave him alone. Change his friends and put him in a position where he's not earning, say, 10 million a month. Let's see whether he will still be buying that Boqer wristwatch. So, on the account of what he thinks a good wristwatch is, by merely changing his income level, his definition of good has changed. This is the problem of man. You see a lot of good. That's why I keep begging God to keep helping us. That's why we are taking our preparation seriously. Because we've seen many good governance advocates, and those of us who are not yet in government must take this seriously, myself inclusive. That you see a lot of people on the outside, they are shouting about good governance. Did you guys know it was one day in my quiet meditation, I felt that the Lord spoke to me quietly. He said to me, Chima, be careful. It was the people who protested against the military. It was them that turned the military on their citizens. The same people that protested also, Abiola, they were the ones that shut us down during NSAS. The same people that shouted the military must go, when the military went in 1999, they turned out to be worse than the military they kicked out. And if we don't take time, the NSAS generation who says no to police brutality, when you find yourself in government, they will unleash police on their citizens. You see all the arrowheads of NSAS movement. You would think that when they are now in office, they will now abolish all forms of police brutality. Make no mistake, repeated history has shown that they will still turn their police on others. That's why I made an unhelped man. That's why many times, many good governance advocates, they keep shouting, and some of them may be genuine at the point of shouting. Don't give them the position of responsibility. Their utter unpreparedness will be there for everybody to see on the surface. That is why any man, maybe one day we will teach them, be a man that God uses. If he's a man that will be set up by God, he goes through processes. And some of us now, including myself, will think that we're ready. But it is in his time, because if you don't complete these processes, if you go into power, power will do to you what it has done to countless others. Learn to do good. So man's definition changes over time. And therefore, man can no longer be assigned the responsibility, cannot even, in the first place, be assigned the responsibility of determining what good is. Look at America today. In less than 50 years, what America calls good dressing has changed. Just dressing. Man's fundamental concept of dressing has changed. Today, good governance is no longer about supplying roads, supplying bridges, supplying healthcare, supplying education. For many Western nations, who are now regressing, by the way, good governance is now an ability to allow people to dress naked. If they want to marry a fellow man, no problems. Let them go ahead. Good governance, yes, that's what it means to them now. It's no longer debated at the governance realm. It is now even in the religious sector. Churches are now finding ways to pander to the public sentiment. Today, we're no longer sure whether the child that is unborn is a human being. Whether he should have rights, whether the child should have rights, or whether the mother should have rights. But guess what? The child that they removed his rights so that they can mother it at any stage, both from conception to 9th month of delivery. Once the child is given birth to, all of a sudden the mother no longer has rights. So now, the mother has full rights to terminate this pregnancy anytime she so wishes. But once the child is born, you can't beat him, but you can kill him in the stomach. This is man's definition of good governance. As long as he's in the stomach, even if it is a day before delivery, kill him. But once you give birth to him and he starts crying, you can no longer beat him. If you beat him, it becomes bad governance. You can no longer discipline. So all of a sudden, this child that did not have rights 2 hours ago, that the government legalizes their killing, in fact, sometimes subsidizes their killing, the government is now actively interested. What is good governance? Who do we ask? Where are the ancient landmarks? Who are the elders that will ask where the boundary lines are? How do we determine that something is good? Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Then the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. If you underline your scriptures, underline good. And God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters under heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear," and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Mark it again, good. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, the fruit that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth," and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. That's number 3. Mark it again. So the evening and the morning were the third day. So by the third day, he saw 3 times that things were good. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years. Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens, to give light on the earth." And it was so. Then God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser lights to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Number 4. So the evening and the morning were the 4th day. Then God said, "Let the waters abound with abundance of living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens." So God created sea creatures and every living thing that moves, in which the waters abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Mark it again, number 5. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the sea, and let the birds multiply on the earth." So the evening and the morning were the 5th day. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to its kind, cattle, creeping things, and the beasts of the earth, each according to its kind." And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Number 6. Then God said, "Let us make man in our own image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, over creeping things that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruits yield seed. To you it shall be for you food. Also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food." And it was so. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. Number 7. In the introductory chapter of the scripture, good appeared 7 times, and man was not invited to make an appraisal. If you go back to the first day, he just created the heavens, and the darkness was everywhere. Let's read it again. So let's go back to
In the beginning, the earth was empty, was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God says, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good. So you see a very vast world. They have not even created the earth, no mountains, no trees, no grasses, no lush gardens, nothing. And you invite current Americans to look at what God said that it was good. They will pass a different judgment on it. On this first day, cattle not created. It was water all over the place. In fact, there was a just giant light. They have not even created the sun and the moon. And he saw that it was good. So when we talk about good governance, who do we ask what good governance is? If you ask Americans, they will say, take away the power of the parents and legalize abortion. It is good governance. If you're happy in your marriage, you can jump out. If you're not satisfied with an opposite sex, get a fellow man. If you like someone's company, go and buy it by force, hostile takeover. If you don't like what a person said, go and cancel him. Report him to his organization. Fire him. Why will he tweet something like that? Drag him immediately. It is good governance. Who do we ask? So when the Bible says, learn to do good, it does not leave you to go invent your own ways. Because you are unstable, I am unstable. Your definition changes over time. If you take an audit of your life, you will see some of the things that were so bad in your eyes years ago, they are now become acceptable. Some of the things you accepted years ago, they have now become bad. Some of the things you swore 20 years ago, it can never be me. You are actually the one modeling it to others. And if we leave this you to define good, therefore we can't have to go to the one who is unchanging. Say, what is good? Remember what Jesus says when they called him good master. Mark 10:18. So Jesus said to him, why do you call me good? No one is good but one, that is God. One is that we are not good except God. Number two, we don't know what good is except. They are talking about the trending story of the second biggest diamond, or is it the largest diamond ever found in Botswana? And I looked at the stone there. If I saw it, and believe me, if I saw that stone in my father's company, I won't believe it is diamond. Because all my idea of diamond has been the cut diamond, the polished diamond. Never seen an uncut diamond before. So someone who have not seen an uncut diamond, if he sees a diamond, he will walk past it. This gold, that's gold wristwatch, gold this. If people see the raw gold, they will walk past it. This petrol we queue up in the filling station to buy petrol. If you see the crude oil, you will walk it until it is refined. Learn to do good. Good is learned, and many people don't know this. First, no one is good except God. Attempting to be good without God, that thing that you call good is the God in you. It's the only thing. A lot of people try to be good without God. You will wear yourself out. None is good. The problem is deeper than you think. It's not about ethics.
is about something. There's a definition that is called good. You've lost it. Let's read Colossians 1 verse 9. For this reason we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and ask that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that you may walk worthy of the Lord. There is a walk that is worthy, but it's not everything that He calls good. He has to look at it and see if it is worthy. What we call good governance today, if God peeps from heaven, will He call it good governance? And we think we now have an idea of good governance. Now, go to those societies that have legalized abortion. They tend to legalize all the bad things, legalize weed. Today, California, of all places, California is in the business of legalizing drugs. If every part of America should be toying with drugs, how can the most productive parts be doing this? All manner of drugs have now been decriminalized. Why? There's a change in the definition of. And today you now see, I think California now has the highest rate of homelessness, drug-induced homelessness in the whole of the United States. And you know what now? Property owners are no longer even allowed to kick out people who come to sleep in front of their pavements. Someone can just drink himself to stupor and be sleeping, put up a tent in front of you. You are not allowed to kick them out, else they will sue you. Because they have a right to sleep anywhere they want. And they have a right to smoke anything they want. And they have a right to, oh my God, who did this? Who subverted the will? Who changed the definition? Who taught us this? And if we're not careful, you see it in the Nigerian media. It was when this young man was, I think, young man that turned himself into a woman, was arrested by EFCC for spraying money. I said, this is free publicity they are doing for this man. And they turned the whole thing that it seemed as if he was being oppressed. They turned it into public sympathy. In prison, the bloggers every day, they are going there. Oh, he lost his phone in the prison. Oh, he lost this. Oh, he's now growing behind in prison. It became a top every day. They were reporting on it. Today, our media, most of the viral content we see, most of our comedians, the skit makers, their emphasis is now on materialism and decadence. If they finish and they don't show freaky, they don't show body parts, it will not sell. Today, even if they are advertising tire, vehicle tire, they will put something there. Glamorizing sex. No longer are they comfortable with glamorizing sex. They are now showing the perverted version of it. Struggling to change the definition. So definition of good changes. If you go to Psalm 25, for instance, it says, teach you the sinners to do good. Teach us to do good. No one else can teach us good except God. No one else. The governors can try. You can use the EFCC. You can try. Without God, it's impossible for the fallen man to govern well. Now, they may, even in America, that many people think is good. No, their politicians pursue selfish interests. They may not open the vaults, for instance, to steal from it, but they can pursue public policies. They know the public policies are against public interest, but because it will secure them with, for instance, Democratic Party is now launching an attack against the rich in America. Because a good number of Americans are not rich.
So they are telling them, we will tax the rich, we will make everybody, by channeling energy against the rich, they are hoping to mobilize the votes of the not so rich. Joe Biden, this Joe Biden that they are now trying to kick out of office. If you saw his video, 24 years, he was against gay marriage because he was a fundamental Catholic. Until he found out, his advisors told him, Oga, we now have more voters who are for gay marriage. You have to amend your message if you will retain your office. You have to adjust your public policy. You have to pander to the public. You have to say what they want to hear. You have to give them what they want. So a leader sees that this policy is not good for the nation, but I need to pursue these policies because I need these people's votes. And he goes ahead to put himself ahead of the society. So though he may not steal openly like Nigerians would do, because our systems are weak, but he puts himself ahead of his society. You can't call that good governance. Sometimes in America, when a leader's approval rating is getting low, they will find an enemy to attack. This is a class, like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I think in one of the classes, that the school of political thoughts, they are not up to 10 authors that influence our political leaders. These are people who are not very detailed. When you talk about Machiavelli, Robert Greene, Nietzsche, there are not many. These are very few thinkers who continue. Even those who do not originally read them will pick up habits from their books by merely observing people who are successful in politics and the way they do. So the man who stole to build a house for himself instead of building the private hospital, and the man who approved a policy to favor himself, they are the same thing. They are in the same vehicle. It's just that one is in front or one is in the back, but they're in the same vehicle. In Russia, when Putin's approval rating is dropping low, you will find a place, an attack. And usually he will try to pander to the animosity of the people. When you have leaders who put themselves first, whether they do that by stealing or whether they do that by pursuing public policies that are anti the society, they've put themselves ahead. So if we must get into governance, we must understand that good governance does not come naturally to people. It does not. A leader who knows that his people need hospitals and they don't need mega hospitals, they need primary healthcare centers. He has done the evaluation, he knows. But building hospitals will not get him the approval rating of the people. He wants to build a gigantic project that people will see and say, aha, this man is the best. Leader who can pursue public policies that will influence the people, no, he will decide to be sharing bags of rice. Good governance is learned. God bless you. My name is Chima Christian. Africa's morning is at hand.